What's up, Packers fans? You know the drill. I'm Paul Brettel. This is Brennen Roop, and we are continuing on with our series to take a look at each of the Green Bay Packers draft picks. We've gone through the first 5 rounds, so we are on to round 6, and that means Wisconsin's own Cole Van Lanen. But first, Brennen, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Paul? I'm excited to dig into this guy that I'm sure you're excited about. All Wisconsinites are excited about to be a part of the Packers.
Absolutely, very much so. And I know there's the running joke on Twitter about Packers fans, specifically ones from Wisconsin, enjoying when Wisconsin Badgers are drafted or end up on the team. And that's 100% true. I absolutely love this, just from a pure fan perspective. So looking at Van Lanen, he was Wisconsin's left tackle for 3 seasons with the Badgers. And he brings that versatility again. I mean, we've hit on that with Royce Newman, and Brennen and I were joking before I started hitting record that this conversation in a way is going to feel kind of similar to the Royce Newman one. And the first question itself is, as I said, Cole Van Lanen was the left tackle for the Wisconsin Badgers. However, he comes with those questions about, is he a tackle at the NFL level? So Brennen, rewind before the draft. You've watched Cole Van Lanen play. In your mind, what did you project him as, where he would be best, inside or out?
I had him listed as a guard, but I think he can kick out and play tackle. I mean, he did it at left tackle, 19 career starts at Wisconsin, Big Ten. That's nothing to squawk at. I think if they view him as a tackle, I think it's going to be right tackle. Obviously, you have David Bakhtiari over on the left side for the next, hopefully, foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. So I think he's probably best at a guard, but I think maybe long term they could see him as a right tackle once Billy Turner's contract is up. Maybe they view him as a right tackle, but I think he's just another one of those guards that can play multiple positions, and we'll see where he sticks. But I think he's best suited at guard.
I agree with that. And Van Lanen himself in interviews leading up to the draft, he talked about how he spent this offseason working out at guard as well as center. Because like I said, at Wisconsin, he was a tackle. He doesn't have those interior reps like Royce Newman does. So he's been working out, and he, even since joining the Packers, he's discussed how he's ready to play wherever it's called upon. And I agree with you. I think he's going to get every opportunity to make it at tackle just because, as we've talked about, the tackle depth on this team is so thin that, yes, let him, if you got to develop him, which they do, give him that opportunity to stick there. But if he doesn't, he can fall back as an interior player. In 28, go on.
To touch on that too, about how he talked about wanting to be versatile, that's one thing that I remember from his pro day is that he said he wanted to be a lineman that can play multiple positions, be versatile, be someone that's going to be hard for a team to cut, which if he can play all 3 positions, that's going to be hard for the Packers to cut a guy like that.
Absolutely. And if we go back to 2018 from the tape he put out, whatever metrics you want to look at, that was hands down his best season. He was actually, and take this as you will, it's Pro Football Focus's grading system, and that's from by far the be-all, end-all. But I think it's really a helpful tool in looking at who's playing really well, who's playing really poorly. When you get to those middle grades, you can have those debates about where the player falls, but PFF isn't going to grade someone highly and they're playing average, or they're playing really poorly, and vice versa. So he was actually Pro Football Focus's top-graded tackle from 2018. Now, he wasn't a full-time starter that year. He split time with John Dietzen, who the Green Bay Packers signed to the practice squad, or as an undrafted rookie, excuse me. So he had a couple hundred snaps at the tackle position, but that shows you the ceiling that he has as a player. We just haven't seen that since, and part of it is due to injury. 2019, he didn't really miss any time, but he fought through injuries throughout the season. So we saw his play take a step back. And then 2020 here, due to COVID-19, it was a shortened season. I think overall he only had like 180 pass blocking snaps. So he's shown us the potential.
Like 3 games?
What was that?
Didn't he miss like the final 3 games too this past year? I thought he did, but maybe he didn't.
Yeah. And then the Badgers season in general was only 5 or 6 just because of COVID. So he just didn't see much playing time. So there's still that, like I said, that high level, and can he get back to it? He really hasn't had the opportunity to yet because, like I said, injuries 2019, just a shortened season in general. So as we look at Cole Van Lanen's game, what are some of the strengths that stand out to you? And I'll just go real quick at a high level just from watching him for a few years. The dude is a mauler against the run game. When he gets his mitts on you, game over.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was going to touch on that right away is that he is so fun to watch when he's working against the run. He's got a nasty mindset. He wants to finish guys. He's good at finishing blocks. Like you said, once he gets his hands on you, you're dead in the water. He's not going to let you go. And he's got some technique stuff to work on. This is probably jumping ahead, but he's got some technique stuff to work on and pass protection. But I think some of that will get erased if he's kicked inside the guard, where he's not going to have to deal with those quicker edge rushers. But if you're looking for a guy that's going to come in and help you open up running lanes, this is the guy for you. I think Wisconsin has had a good history of reducing offensive linemen, and Cole Van Lanen is a good pick here for the Packers in the 6th round.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, as far as, so our next question was areas to improve upon. You mentioned technique and pass protection. From an athletic standpoint at the NFL level, he tested very well at Wisconsin's pro day. So those numbers combined with what you saw in film, from an athletic standpoint, do you see him being able to hold up on the perimeter, especially when we start talking about those speed rushes?
I think he could. I think he's got the foot quickness to do it. It's just more of just kind of getting his body in tune with working in unison. I don't know how to word it. I'm not an offensive lineman coach, but just kind of being able to kick and slide and being able to move your body together in unison. I think that's some stuff that he struggles with. But he's an athletic guy. Like you said, he's tested well. He has the athleticism to get to the 2nd level. And usually when he does, he hits his targets when he gets out there. So, again, 6th round is all about finding guys that are going to carve out a role for you. And I think Van Lanen, worst case scenario is he's a lifetime backup where he can play all 3 positions. And that's something where he could have a long career doing 10 years doing that.
One other thing I wanted to touch on and see if you agree or if I'm off base with this, but something else that'll come with the development at the NFL level is his strength. Do you see that being an area just putting on basically pure muscle and getting bigger and stronger in that regard to handle those bull rushes?
I think he can. I think, what does he weigh? Like, I think in his pro day he weighed like 305 or something like that.
Yep.
I can't remember. But I think, he does have the body to add weight to that. And I think that will come, especially – we're probably going to touch on this later, but I think he's basically going to redshirt his rookie year where he's going to probably be a backup. And I think he is going to have that time to bulk up and add weight and maybe be a starting right tackle for the Green Bay Packers long term.
For sure. And I think that's going to be a big part of this offseason, just adding some pure muscle to him, some muscle mass, because like you said, he's 6'5". He has that good frame, can add some weight to it, but I think more so than the weight itself is just getting the functional strength that you need as an offensive lineman, especially at the tackle position.
Especially too, if you're going to be playing inside, you want to be a little thicker and a little stronger too. So again, he has the body frame to do it, and he probably will. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't add at least 10, 15 pounds of muscle. So it'll be interesting to watch his growth this year in training camp and then going into the year 2.
For sure. So now let's zoom out a little bit from Cole Van Lanen and look at the offensive line, or specifically the tackle position in general here. The Green Bay Packers have taken six offensive linemen in the last 2 drafts. And each of these drafts going into it, if you had said, if Paul, pick a position that the Green Bay Packers are going to take, I would have said tackle for both. I absolutely would have. Van Lanen's a tackle. Royce Newman is a tackle, but they're not true tackles. You know, they're not like they landed Tevin Jenkins, Liam Eichenberg, where you know, okay, this guy's going to start at tackle for us. As we've discussed with both these players, there's that, are they a tackle or are they better inside? So that comes, at least to me, that came as a surprise. And I think I've mentioned this in the Newman video, that sometimes you can glean from what a team's thinking by what they don't do. And by not drafting a true tackle, Brennen, what do you think? Is this the Green Bay Packers saying, Elton Jenkins is our right tackle of the future, or are you chalking it up to the board just hasn't fallen correctly, which, as we all know, is a big part of this as well. Just because a team doesn't address a position doesn't mean that it's not on their radar. I mean, Brian Gutekunst even said about linebacker, they absolutely wanted to take one early on, but you don't have control about who's taken in front of you. So you chalk it up more towards maybe it's just some unfortunate luck and finding that right tackle of the future still on the radar, or do you think they're going, Elton Jenkins is our guy?
I'll go full politician here and say it's probably a combination of both. I think they do view – I mean, Elton Jenkins can play all 5 positions and be an all-pro no matter what. And maybe they view Billy Turner to be their right tackle right now, And then when his contract is up, maybe Elton Jenkins is going to go slide over there and play right tackle. I mean, all 6 of these guys that they drafted that you mentioned are interior linemen. That's where a lot of smarter people than you and I have projected them to play. But I think Royce Newman has the chance to play right tackle. I think Cole Van Lanen could play right tackle. But if you're going to pin me down and say, why haven't they taken one? I think it is because they view Elton Jenkins as the guy that can kick over there and play right tackle. And then you could slide Runyon, Simon, Cole, Royce, and you can have those guys play guard. So I think maybe Gutekunst these are all day 3 picks besides Myers. So maybe he is just trying to buy a lotto ticket and hope one of them hits. And you have your 2 starting. You have a left guard, right guard, and hoping one of them is Runyon. Maybe one of them is Newman, one of them is Van Lanen, and then Elton Jenkins is going to play right tackle. So maybe he's just trying to get as many chances as he can, and he's just going to see which one sticks. That's kind of the way I view it.
I'm 100% with you. Once this draft was over and I had some time to just kind of digest everything, that's 100% where I'm at. Not to say that's how it's going to play out by any means, but I think that they view Elton Jenkins as their right tackle moving forward. And you hit on a great point about, taking as many bites of the apple as you can get. That's what they've done in their last, 4 or 5 drafts. They've taken 3 of a position. And for the most part, day 3 picks, where obviously you're less likely to hit on someone. So 2017, hey, let's take 3 running backs. Let's hope one sticks. Fortunately, 2 of them did.
Yeah.
They took 3 wide receivers on day 3. And then following year, so far, one of them's hit MVS. I mean, it's a strategy that works. And if we look at the offensive line position, it's specifically the interior. Like, yes, going into this year, it's very crowded. But let's step forward a year. Lucas Patrick's contract's up after this year. Billy Turner could be a cap casualty. And Elton Jenkins might be your right tackle. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you've got Bach and Elton on the edge, Josh Myers as your center, and you've got the 2 guard spots. But now you got Runyon, Stepaniak, Van Lanen, and Newman, day 3 picks to battle for it. And so when we kind of take that step back and look at how they're constructing it, I think the pieces start to fall in place a little bit more and make a little bit more sense on what the approach is.
Yeah, that's a great point too, with Patrick's contract coming up and Turner could be in a cap casualty next year. You want guys. So next year, you look at it; those guys are gone. Well, you have 4 guys that can slide into guard. Now it's not a need where you're gonna have to. Oh, well, now we got to take a guard early because we're, excuse my language, shit out of luck because we didn't plan it. So again, I think it's like you said, it's as many bites out of the apple as you can. And I think Runyon limited playing time showed that he could be a starting right guard for you.
100%. So last piece here on Van Lanen, I think from our discussion, folks can kind of guess where we stand on this, but expectations for him here in year 1, Brennen, what are they?
I think he is going to be the rookie that probably has the minimal impact. That doesn't mean it's a bad pick. I just think right now it's a crowded room like we've talked on, and I just don't see a way for him to be a starter or even make an impact unless there's an injury, which – yeah, this is a great depth pick because he can play guard, he can play tackle. You talked about how he's been playing some center snaps. So I think it's a guy that is going to be a very valuable depth piece along the offensive line. One of the most important positions in football is having enough big bodies up front. So if you lose someone, it's not a huge detriment to the team.
Yep, I'm absolutely with you on that. Like I said, I think adding strength is going to be big for him. Just the development, getting acclimated to the NFL level. And as we mentioned with Royce Newman, I mean, there really isn't much a better offensive line coach that you could be learning from than Adam Stenavich.
Yeah.
Like we said last time, there's no credit rarely given to the offensive line, let alone the offensive line coach. But for how they were just able to plug and play guys in, filling in for injuries last year, it's an absolute credit to him. So he, like the cornerbacks we talked about, are learning from a great teacher in Jerry Gray. Van Lanen and Newman, they're going to get great tutelage from Adam Stenavich.
And to touch on Van Lanen learning from people, he said after he got drafted that Bakhtiari was someone that he looked up to. And so again, having the best left tackle to learn from too is not bad at all. And even having Elton Jenkins, who has become one of the best offensive linemen in football, but he's got some good guys to learn from. For sure.
And overall, it's just a really cool story from here in Green Bay, just on the outskirts at the prestigious, highly rated Bayport High School. I say that because I went there as well. Went to Wisconsin, Badger. Like I said last time, he's living the Wisconsin kid's dream as far as going to Wisconsin, drafted by the Packers. Just a very cool story. And obviously outside of the aspect of him being a Green Bay Packer and we all root for him, just an easy person to root for as well.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. That's our thoughts on Cole Van Lanen. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Brettel. Find my work at Dairyland Express and Cheesehead TV. If you've missed any of our other draft videos, head to my YouTube page, type in Paul Brettel. Subscribe if you're feeling generous. Brennan, tell these folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Royal_Roop, and then you can find my work at GameOnWisconsin.com.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We do greatly appreciate it. Until next time, when we take a look at Isaiah McDuffie, we will see you then. Take care and go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.